Erie Street projects, it's the Oprah certificate exemption, which will freeze the assessed value. They're asking for 12 years with this, I believe, for the Erie Street one, will approve that for 10. They could have asked for 12. This project, they're asking for 12.
Thank you for clarification. Those apartments also.
It'll be, yeah, it looks, so those units from 101 to 119 South Superior will have commercial space on the first floor and apartments in some configuration on the second. I do not believe they plan to utilize CDBG funding, so they will not necessarily be tied to the same restrictions as the Erie Street development. Different funding sources, different programs. But yes, this will provide commercial space and residential space. And for if you're not familiar with this, let me say this does include the building that the back fell off of a few weeks ago, all the bricks, the plaza there. So that is what we're asking for.
So that information that was put on there saying what was going on with the buildings. So was that included with it, or had that taken place before they done this? So I see various dates. So let me make myself clear here. So it's not that big. It's just, it showed where the individual gave the estimate of what needed to be done on 101, 113, whatever, and then flipped up to the back. Yes, because he had to put partial, like 5 or 6 on one page, and he flipped it over and did 5 or 6, but he made it the same as he did for the first.
Yeah, they're completing this application basically 9 times all on one application. So it's 9 different addresses, 9 different legal parcels.
Correct.
But they're all connected by firewalls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's basically saying they all basically have the same thing wrong with them.
Yeah, that they're all obsolete properties
Correct.
in need of that overhaul rehabilitation. And that if this developer wasn't doing this project, or if another developer wasn't doing this project, they would not provide any benefit to the city, which certainly agree with. They're not providing any benefit now. And in fact, they're a bit of a risk right now.
Okay, yeah, I see that's on 73. Okay.
Now, I have a question about that as well. Those properties, are they planning on doing low to moderate income as well? And any of them?
They're not bound by that, by any agreement that I know of.
Okay.
I do not know how they plan to rent out the top or bottom. There's
So Dr. Shaheen will be here this evening to explain that to us, and we would have the opportunity to ask him questions after he presents his information.
I got you. I have another question as well. Are you familiar with what the tax implication is for the city?
in terms of like the actual dollar amount, if we grant the exemption, or
Yeah,
I don't know that. It's 9 parcels. They're having, as they go back through the assessing records, there's some errors that it looks like the assessor made. Some buildings are valued at nothing. Some are valued at $250,000 in that stretch, which isn't accurate. For reference, the Peabody building isn't even as highly valued as some of the ones in this stretch are, and that is where this is ending up, redone and everything. So logistically, they're having to go back through and verify the assessor's results. So I can't tell you exactly what the property values will be frozen at for the duration of that 12 years. Yeah, I don't have those specific numbers. I think those would be hard to guess right now. And then we'd be guessing at how much the property values might have increased over 12 years without it. So, yeah.
and it's not that they won't be paying any taxes.
Correct. It's just that their rate will be frozen.
Right.
And this was similar to what Jacob was saying to that project between Foundry and Malibu. They have the same type of agreements.
Right. The Oprah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Any other questions on this project? All right, we're going to be asked to approve the brownfield redevelopment plan for the 101 to 119 South Superior Street.
I don't have information on that. Because we'll be at our meeting tonight.
Right.
I don't know if she planned to be here tonight and just couldn't make it, but maybe the press will be here tonight to answer questions.
Thank you. Approve resolution 2022-31 to recognize the Friends of the Tecumseh District Library as a nonprofit organization to obtain gaming license from the state of Michigan. Do we have questions on that?
Yeah.
Go.
Why?
Yeah, please, Ann.
Are they,
From my understanding, they're gonna have something at the festival, so because it's going on here in town, they've got to get approval, but. I was told that somebody from that group was gonna be here at the council meeting, just so if anybody had questions, they could answer questions.
Mm,
and I figured it was.
I wanna
for the
know
festival.
too.
Yeah, I figured it was.
Go ahead, please.
And I did take the time, I checked and verified with licensing and regulatory affairs, and they are a validly registered nonprofit with the state.
Perfect.
Okay. Any other questions on this topic? We are going to designate a council official to attend the MML conference. This is,
Yes, I had some questions on that.
sure, go ahead.
So I see that the listed amount there was $175. And to be able to go to this MNL conference, the early bird special, if we do it before the 9th, is $520. And if we did it after that, then that price went up to $695. And then it went up to $745. So I didn't understand what the $175 was supposed to do.
So that's the member fee, if I'm not,
That's member fee, but what I'm saying is still member fee.
yeah,
And it has a non-member fee, which takes it up another $200, almost $500. And if you are just a guest at the reception, it's $230. Once again, I don't understand what the 175 would even do for one person. It might help them get there with their gas and stuff, or if they're not, it's 3 days. So I guess we need to look at that, is what I'm thinking. That price, $175 is not going to do it. And even if now somebody wanted to stay up there each night, that too was $288, $285. We did it today, $288 was the other rooms. So $175, I don't think we'll do it, because it didn't, I mean, it wasn't that cheap when we went last year. And we didn't have it in the budget. And I see by the other information as well, that it says July 18th is when kind of like when she got the information. So I think we could have more time to think about some dollars and cents, but I think we should think about a little higher. Can't,
That just came in the mail.
it just came in the mail? Okay.
yeah, Howard?
This is just a theory, but in looking at this, my guess is maybe there was a mistake by
The saving,
whoever read this, where it says early bird pricing ends September 9th, register now and save $175.
I assumed that when I seen it, but I said I better just come out with the dollars and cents on the table, so nobody'd have to assume again that it's $175 per person.
Just my guess.
I seen it too, I guess like that too, so I thought I wouldn't.
Hey, we're on the same page.
Yeah, don't say page, but I thought I better just say something.
Any other questions on this type of, on this topic?
Is there, how are the representatives selected?
So last year, we decided to have a council meeting, who was gonna go. I don't know if Haley had signed up for this already, or if it was just whoever wanted to go again this year.
Whoever.
So, yeah.
Is this in Lansing?
No.
Must be,
Yeah.
So if you went last year.
Myself and Lee.
Reed, And then Haley also go last?
I think Haley and Shane,
Yeah.
that's what his names was on.
Oh, yeah, and I think Linda,
She back, she didn't think she could go, so she didn't go, but we could all have, oh, yeah, we all should have one, yeah. So it's basically what we want to go.
Yes, I want to go.
we're gonna have a discussion on the park rules. We are gonna be asked to approve the first reading of ordinance 2022-08. And that's gonna be in regards to changing the age limit to purchase tobacco products, is that correct? Colin?
Yeah, it's tobacco products and alternative tobacco products, which is vape. The state changed the minimum age effective at the end of July from 18 to 21. And so the ordinance just updates our local ordinance to bring us into compliance with state law.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson?
So I seen the 21. So on page 101, it talks about establish that the individual at least 21, 18 years of age. So I guess the fines is what I was looking at, the first one on page 100. And it talked about that first fine under 5822, 58-228. The first offense would be $100 and the second would be $500. But then when you turn it over in a few more pages, it starts talking about only $50.
Yeah,
Talk
that's,
to me, look, hear me, talk to me. That didn't make no sense to me.
that's how the state has the state statute set up. And so we just mirrored the state statute because we can't assess more in fines than the state does at
Okay.
their level. So I agree with you. I don't think it makes sense. And I wish they would have revamped
need you to
their
explain
fine
this to me.
system, but it just mirrors the state statute.
Correct, because over on the page 3, which is page 102 in our packet, it started talking about $50. And I was like, $50 for a violation, but over here it's 100, it's 500, and then go over to page 103. No more than $50. Okay, I get
Well,
the
I wonder
just
if it's
justice.
because the first one is in regards to anyone who's gonna sell it. And the second one, where you're talking about the $50, is the individual who's trying to purchase it, who's under 21.
That may be true, and I hear it over to my right and over to my left, but if you read this again, okay? There's a first violation, a second violation. It is like Colin said, that makes no sense. It's still $50. Regardless of who it is.
I agree. I mean, they're pretty insignificant penalties. So like I said, it's
Okay, I just.
it's what the legislature came up with and unfortunately
You
we
just
can't
say still
assess
say
more.
$50 regardless.
Yeah,
Yeah, my
so-
concern, and I talked with Helen, but my concern was who is going to be responsible for monitoring? And he assured me that we wouldn't have to hire a person in terms of the community service ideas. And I'm thinking, we're supposed to monitor all of this, but it's not left up to us. That's not our problem.
right. It's in the event that the public safety department cites somebody for a violation, whether it's someone who's illegally possessing or someone who's illegally selling or what have you. Once a disposition occurs at the court's responsible for monitoring any payment of fines or community service that's ordered or probation, things like that. We don't have to do any of that.
Any other questions on this topic? So we'll have a discussion in regards to equipment from McCullough Park. Discussion on our staffing update. Discussion on the additional senior housing and price points. Discussion on the DNR presentation. That's what I have on my. And then we will discuss and or approve to spend $12,000 on a new street sweeping service. So do we have questions about that topic? Okay, Councilman Williams?
Yeah, can we speak about the street sweeper?
Yes.
Yeah. Kevin O'Brien sent me the request for renting a street sweeper and got the one quote for almost $12,000. I have since been in contact with a company that actually does the street sweeping for us, but they haven't gotten me the quote back. I thought I was gonna have it for today, but I still don't have the quote on that. We were trying to get something done before the festival, but with the cost of this, we would have to bid this out, I believe, if I'm not correct. Attorney Harkness, that's $12,000 would have to be bid out, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah, so it would have to go out to bids. I don't think we could get the street sweeping done before then. Our current street sweeper has about $5,000 in repairs needs to be done to it. And so the question then becomes, do we rent one? Do we buy one? Or do we contract it out to have somebody do it for us? And I was trying to get those numbers for you, but I don't have all those numbers yet. to
I
answer those
got you.
questions.
Now, also, that was 12,000 for a month.
I think it wasn't that for a month?
30 days.
30 days, yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's what I was trying.
Yeah, and we did this a couple years ago and we were able to get, I think, all the streets swept within that 30 days when we did it. I don't remember the cost of it back then. It was 3 years ago, I think we did it that way. So.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
Wasn't there, I know we talked about a dump truck.
mhm.
We didn't ever talk about a sweeper truck as well.
We bought a new sweeper, but it was used. And so we're already having problems with it. Street sweepers, for whatever reason, tend to break down often. I think probably because of the way they operate. And it's the same style that we had before, which is like kind of a three-wheel type thing rather than a truck. And we're looking more along the truck lines of doing it. We definitely need to look at something at some point. And like I said, I was hoping to have this other quote for you after Mr. O'Brien sent me the one, and then I just haven't gotten it. So.
We do need to get one because down Chestnut Street, lots of trucks come that's
Mhm.
hauling stuff either to the thing down there by the river or
mhm.
somewhere. They've got boxes off that's still laying out there in the street and parts of tree branches and stuff are just all up and down.
Oh, yeah, I spent days cleaning the gutters up around my house this summer.
Oh, I
So.
got swept all around my,
Yeah.
part, but it's right back there again,
Yeah.
because as they come by, they just drop stuff all over everywhere.
Yep,
So we need a street sweep.
yeah, and so I'm trying to get those numbers for you, and like I said, we were hoping to get one before the festival, but between having to bid this out because of the cost and so forth, I don't think we could accomplish that, so.
Sounds good.
Kevin, do you want to?
I'd like to address.
Yeah.
Sure.
The current street sweeper that the city owns has had reoccurring problems. Prior to me even being here for over a full year. The current problem is about a $5,200 repair. However, in my history with street sweepers, this thing is gonna be a continual issue with repairs just because of the age. For instance, the part that we're trying to get down, they don't even make it. We have to have it made. Cause it's a 2003 sweeper. Say we do that repair. I'm not sure when we can get the repair done. I know we can't get it done in time for the festival. The company we purchased the sweeper from as a city 3 years ago was the same company I had engaged with about renting the one that's up for proposal. I did not get other bids. I've tried, but this holiday thing is really puts people behind.
Yeah.
It's 30 days. Regardless of how many hours we use it. It's my opinion, we could clean this entire town up in 30 days. We'd just be running shifts, so people, that thing's running all around the clock.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have any other questions on this topic? Councilman Williams?
Is there a reason why we don't lease equipment like that?
Street sweeper?
Yeah,
We could look into that as well. Normally when we do leases, that's usually a lease to own. So we'd own it over a period of time. And I don't remember how we went about buying this last one that we bought. I wasn't involved in that at the time, so I was involved with renting the prior one that we rented for a month, but this one, I don't know what the purchase process was on it. So,
okay. I just know, cause like at work, we lease all the equipment.
Yeah,
we use.
right, we do lease some of our equipment and we've looked in more and more into doing that, I think. And then I also thought possibly depending on the cost of contracting it out where we didn't have to buy any equipment and it just get done twice a year or however that would work, but I have no idea what that cost is yet, so.
I got you. Thank you.
Well, it seems to me that a warranty is very much needed because if it only lasts 1 year.
Well, and I think this was used too. I don't think it was new, so that was part of it.
Hmm.
New ones are $250,000.
Mhm.
and maybe leasing. We'll go back to leasing.
Alright, so to be conscientious of time, do we have anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and make a public comment? So, we have 3 minutes. All right, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Or
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, call the study session to close at 6:59 PM. We have a minute before we come back.